Hello and welcome back to my Norty's Forgotten Flicks-a-thon. Well, here we are. The last film. It's been a wild 2 months, hasn't it? Just in the past 8 weeks, I've been abducted by aliens, talked to myself, punched myself in the face, vanished from reality, and also gone completely crazy. But we have reached the end, and I can think of no better way to end this marathon than with dead kids and terrorism. This is July 22nd. First of all, I should say I wasn't actually able to get a file for this thing because it's a Netflix movie, so I had to basically download every trailer, featurette, and clip that was available online. Directed and written by Paul Greengrass, July 22nd tells the story of the Norway attacks that took place on July 22nd, 2011, and the aftermath. On that date, a man named Anders Breivik set off a car bomb outside the government headquarters in the capital city of Oslo, and then went to a small island called Utøya, where a summer camp of young people belonging to the Labour Party was being held, and went on a shooting rampage. In the end, 77 people were killed, most of them teenagers, and over 300 were injured. So we discussed Islamic extremism with Patriots Day, but now we're looking at another kind of terrorism, alt-right terrorism. True, this wasn't classified as alt-right, and the term wouldn't become widely used until years afterward, but his reasons for doing this attack were pretty much the same as you saw from the likes of the Charleston shooting, the Charlottesville attack, or the Pittsburgh shooting. Ultra-nationalism and extreme dislike for Islam despite using the same tactics that Muslim extremists use, very anti-government, and misogyny, racism, and anti-LGBT. So yeah, I would consider this one of the earliest examples of alt-right terrorism. It is almost scary how this guy sounds exactly like the extreme right-wing nutbags I've made fun of in previous videos. I am convinced that the only reason Lauren Southern hasn't gone on a killing spree is because she thinks it isn't a woman's job to do that. Moving away from politics, this movie is long, but it actually earns its runtime. The attack is over after about 30 minutes, but the rest of the movie deals with a lot of differing topics on how the attack affected people. For example, Breivik hires a lawyer named Geir Liebenstad, and now he has to come with terms with defending a man who killed dozens of people, and he knows that Breivik feels no remorse and is not crazy. He's just a bigot. This not only eats away at him, but him and his family receive death threats, all because he has to do his job.
I will be allowed to speak at the trial.
This hasn't been decided yet.
No, that's very important. There are witnesses I need to cross-examine.
We also follow a teenager named Vilhar Hansen who was shot several times, including in the head. He essentially has to relearn how to walk and suffers from PTSD. And this made me realize that anytime some mass shooting or terrorist attack happens, we really only think of those killed. And don't get me wrong, we should remember them, but after the media has moved on, the injured are largely forgotten. Some of them have injuries that prevent them from walking. Some still have bullet fragments in their bodies. And while that doesn't really apply to this attack as they live in Norway, some can't afford healthcare and have to rely on sites like GoFundMe just to pay their medical bills. I actually really got invested in this kid's story. It's honestly heartbreaking that not only he went through this and lost a couple of his best friends, but because he still has some fragments of bullet close to his brainstem, he has to basically tread carefully with every move he makes. The direction is solid. The only Paul Greengrass movies I've seen are the Bourne movies and his films based on tragic events that happened recently trilogy, a trilogy he has in common with Peter Berg. I'm not a big Bourne fan, but I really like all three of his real-life tragedy movies. United 93 is one of my favorites. He's one of the few directors that make shaky cam really work to his advantage. The shootout on Utøya is very suspenseful, and while the low budget does hinder some scenes, he still manages to pack a punch with some of these moments.
It's okay, police. Stay away from the windows. Get down on the floor and I'll come inside.
The acting is good, even though they all speak English for some reason. And also, you know how I said Patriots Day did a great job getting actors who look similar to the people they were portraying? Yeah, that isn't true here. With half of them, I don't even think they were trying. I could see why some might find it boring, but since I actually got into the more talky courtroom scenes and was interested in Vilhar's story, I really liked it. Just go in knowing the actual attack is over pretty quickly. This is more about dealing with the attack than the attack itself. And like most movies about terror attacks, it includes the message that you can't let them win. Being afraid to go out, not socializing, being afraid of them, that is what they want. And the only way to really beat them is to not let them scare you. And since it seems like some terrible attack happens every few months or so, I'm okay with them hammering in this message. So thank you all for joining me on this marathon. Next time we'll be back to your regularly scheduled ridiculousness. Probably do that long shot movie. Since this is the last one, I should probably do something big, right? Bye!
To force them to become a minority in their own capital.
You have one people, and in the space of a single generation, you have a different people.